And we're live. Yo, what's good, Brodies and Bass? This is the Dynasty Bros Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 62. Of course, we don't have the DJ here to mess up that number, but we're here. This is where you cover your fantasy football needs and to chop it up about the latest NFL news. I am Dynasty Bro Dot here with my co-bro.
Dynasty Bro Vic, what's up?
That was pretty dry, man. That's all
it was. So here's the thing. I thought about saying more, but then my brain stopped. So I was like, okay, that was cool. So my bad. What's up?
Well, since my Cobra ain't all the way here yet, we got two fire-ass guests today, man. From the Bring the Juice podcast. You know how we gonna do it. We got Mr. Derek and we got Mr. Cody. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having us on today. Glad to finally talk some more football.
Yes, sir.
I'll take that. That's just as dry as Vic's.
I bring the fire later on, okay? I don't do bomb intros, okay?
That's why we're on this side, or actually this side of the screen. So,
nah, I'm just playing, man. We have a fire episode today, man. We're going to get into the rookie temperature check, man. You know, we have a couple rookies on our team, the Indianapolis Colts, and then there's a bunch of receivers, a bunch of running backs and quarterbacks that are actually doing their thing right now. So we're going to get into that later on. Like, you know how we doing? We got two guests on, or any guest. We always like to do the resume. So hope you guys are ready for that. That's always interesting. And we got the What's the Word in the Hood TMZ by Dynasty Bro Vic. So, I want to say this. We're going to have a very interesting flag on the play today. If you haven't seen the video, it's going to be pretty funny. Yeah. Every time I watch it, it just looks a little bit more crazier. So I'm excited to get to that. But if you're all right with it, Vic, I would like to just jump straight into these resumes, man, because that's my favorite thing to do when we have guests on. Is that all right?
Yeah, man. I agree, man. Let's jump into it.
All right, so look, I don't know which one of you guys want to go first. I don't know if you want to go by age, who's older, who's more important. You guys can figure that out. I'm not here to judge.
It's totally Cody. Get Cody on here first. Go ahead.
All right, Cody. Cody clearly hit me with one of these. I said important. He said it's pretty.
Yeah. So football resume. So.
All right, so look, I'm gonna give you this. This is how we do it. We usually go to real life football. So I'm gonna ask you, like, if you played football, when you started, and like when did it last? When did your career end? Or if you even still play. Some people still play some flag. And then we're gonna switch over to fantasy. See if you did any fantasy football years, if you won any championships. So that's how we do the resume. So, you know, let's get straight to it. Real life football. Cody, did you play any football growing up?
I did. Yep. I started in Pee Wee football, third grade. I remember. I remember after the first practice, I asked my dad, what's a touchdown? I remember that. And from there, I was always a little bit bigger than everybody. So I was really tall as a kid growing up. So always was on the line, man. And that continued in middle school, high school, played through high school, played offense and defense. You know, kind of looking back on it, I played more defense than offense. I felt like, man, I could have been a pretty good offensive tackle. But let me just say this. Our coaches were probably the worst coaches of all time. Like, I know we have to talk about Chuck Pagano and those guys being the worst of all time, but, like, tell you what,
in my
man,
hometown would disagree with you on that. They'd say my coach was pretty bad, but I don't agree. But that's, yeah. Bro,
I'll just say this. Our coach, I didn't even feel like he was our head coach. I probably talked to the guy 2 or 3 times. So, like, that tells you anything about how standoffish they were. And, you know, it's like when you have like 300-pound coaches yelling at you to run, it doesn't really inspire you to do anything. So, but yeah, I guess my football career ended in high school, played a little intramural in college. But other than that, man, was always a offensive, defensive lineman throughout. And I enjoyed it, man. It was a lot of fun.
So I heard if you didn't have fat-ass coaches that didn't motivate you, you would probably went further past high school. That's all I heard at the end of the day.
I mean, it came to the point my senior year where I was like, I love football, but I was like, I'm kind of tired of playing football. Like, it was just that bad. And then you never want that. So, like, I feel like I've had coaches who inspired me, and our team sucked. Like, we didn't win a game for like 2 straight years. So, like, that didn't help either. But my senior year, we did pretty well. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I feel like I potentially could have. I might have even considered that, but I was just so done at that point, so burned out. Like, I was just not really wanting to do anything. But, yep, so High school for me, that's where it ended.
All right, man. I was right on board with you. I finished in high school too. All right. So since I sucked at real life football, I transitioned to fantasy football and decided I was going to be good at it. So with that being said, man, have you played any fantasy football in your life?
I have, yeah. My friends and I, I played in a couple different leagues, but the league that I've always come back to, I started, I believe, it was in high school with a group of people, and we still play today. I remember my first year went to the championship, lost in the championship. Second year, I went to the championship, and I actually won. And then since then, man, it's been like a downhill spiral, I feel like. I've slowly gotten worse, and this year's just been the worst of all. With all the injuries and everything, it's been rough. Like, I had Nick Chubb who got hurt, and I have freaking Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson, but, like, I can never figure out when to play who, and so it's been a rough year.
Hey,
but
here's my advice. Play Tom Brady the rest of the year. That's my advice.
Hey, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, play
definitely
Brady
am.
the rest of the year.
A little bit of fantasy football. I've enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. I always enjoy. It's like during that time of year, like there's people you don't normally talk to that you're like texting almost every day. Like, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a good way to fellowship, man. I enjoy it.
It is. Yeah.
And I'll say this to you: if you feel bad about your year and you're having a bad year, that just means you have a good team. That's what I take it as. All the good guys are hurt. That just means you have all the good guys. Your team's going to be bad.
Right.
Hey, it's my advice. All right. So that's good. All right. We got some real life football in there and some fantasy football in there, Vic. How you feel about his resume?
Man, it was pretty interesting, but it was cool. So shout out to those coaches.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, Derek.
All right.
How are you doing, man? You all right? You ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm ready to get into it, man.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So real life football.
Oh, Derek's ready to go, man.
I'm ready to go, man.
I know he's like I start now. You know what? I'm going to fall back. I'm going to let you just explain. Get straight into it in your real life football resume.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I've been playing football ever since I actually was able to stand up and catch a football, man. I remember it all the time. I was 5, 6 years old playing flag football out in the middle of downtown with some leagues and stuff, playing Pee-wee. You know, I was actually started out as a wide receiver in Pee-wee football. Not a lot of memories come from that because I didn't get targeted a lot, but I did make a couple plays. And then, you know, football was huge for me in middle school because I had a really difficult time transitioning to that time. Wasn't very popular of a guy, but it changed my life. It gave me a sense of direction, and they actually made me an offensive lineman because I hit a growth spurt in 7th grade. And that was my story the whole rest of the way as an offensive lineman, defensive lineman in high school. And I became the starting center for our varsity team my junior year, 2-year captain, most improved player as well as a center. And believe it or not, I was only 5'10", 180 pounds. So wow. I was very small, but I was a center. So, you know, I was wrestling with the big boys in there. And, you know, I wanted to go to college and play ball. I really did. But, you know, I also told myself, like, why should I go D3? Because that's ultimately where I was going to probably end up going if I was going to choose it. Why mess up my education going D3 to play football when I could just do something on the opposite flip end of that? So I went to the school that I actually wanted to go to. I did a little bit of scouting as well, kind of helped me out. And that's pretty much my real life experience for football.
Nice.
Okay.
Hey,
I feel like I need to hear this one more time, man. 5'10", 180, and you started at center.
Yep. It was a spur of the moment thing because it's kind of ironic because, you know, my sophomore year, the end of my sophomore year, my coach said, I don't see you starting for this team in the near future just because of how small I was. But then there was a scrimmage where I just went out with these guys to snap balls to our quarterbacks. We were just scrimmaging, and I just went out and I started snapping the ball. I wasn't even supposed to be out there, but I just magically found my way out there, and they just said, go snap for one of the guys. I did, and then the coaches didn't like how our center who played in that scrimmage played, and he brought me and that center into the practice room or into the film room and said, look, we saw you helping them out. We're going to do this. We're going to move you to that spot and move him back to the guard position where he originally played. Gonna say, can you do it? I said, yes, sir, absolutely. Took me a couple weeks to get going, but because of the snaps, I had never done center before, but I figured it out and I hung in there.
Man, Vic, you want to chime in, man?
I was going to say, man, don't sleep on the D3 guys. So I actually played a little D3 and made a couple plays. I kind of heard you say, you made a couple plays. So, yeah, I made a couple plays. But, yeah, don't sleep on D3. But shout out to you, man, being, at that size and being in the trenches, man. So without the linemen, there's no football. So salute.
Oh, heck yeah. I loved my offensive line coach. It was sad when he eventually left. But, man, that dude was hard ass. But I loved him every second of it because – he made our offensive line better. The offensive line was always good at our school. The rest of the skill positions, they could have been hit or miss, but the offensive line was always prepared, was the best conditioned and ready to play every Friday night.
Nice.
Cody, how do you feel hearing how passionate Derek is about his offensive line coach?
I wish I would have had that, man. Maybe he could have actually seen something in me and not gone with guys, 30 pounds less than me and just ridiculous stuff. But yeah, I'm not going to go into that, man. I'm jealous, but
hey, if you remember any of your coaches' names, I know a guy. I'm just playing. Hey, Derek, so let's transition into fantasy football, man. Have you played any? When did you start? Have you won any championships if you have played?
I did. I started, I think, in the 2015-2016 season, I believe. That first year, I did it with a bunch of my friends. I think we had about a dozen of us in that group. I did win the first year. I did win the championship. Amazingly, this is how I won. This is the great story, is that week 16 and 17 determined the championship. So I was in it. And the guy who I was playing against, he had so many amazing players that they all got benched because they were on because the teams were so good. Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, guys like that, the guys that were blowing up the league, they were all sitting down because they were already in the playoffs, and my guys were still good because my approach is always consistency. I don't like to go for the big hitters. I don't like to go for the high risk, high reward guys. I like consistency. And that won me my first one by 2 points. So my friend is still salty about that. I remain consistent. I was in the playoffs for the next year after that. The year after that, I just didn't win those. And then 2019, I didn't do too great. Didn't have a great roster. I didn't like that draft, but this year I didn't really take fantasy football seriously because, just with how weird this year has been, I didn't really find the motivation to really want to say, oh, I want to sit down and do fantasy football. Cause I was like, were we going to even have a season? That was my thinking of it. But man, my rosters this year, I've been hit with the injury bug, man. I had Saquon Barkley. Man, that is unfortunate what happened there.
That's your first pick. That's your first.
Yeah, my first pick in that draft, and he's gone. But my leagues right now, I'm 500 in one of them, and I'm one win over 500 in the other. So I'm still in it a little bit.
All right, man, and that's it. As my brother Vic says, as long as you get to the playoffs, that's all that matters, man. I don't care if you're the first overall, last overall, get a bye or whatever. As long as you get to the playoffs, you good. I get that from Vic.
Yeah, man. And this is one of those years where a lot of those top seeds are, there's some deception there just because a lot of teams are banged up and injured. So, getting in the playoffs, that's all that matters because then hopefully your team is at a full strength to knock off these top seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True that.
Yeah. You want to hear? I guess I didn't explain how I won mine. It was pretty crazy. So drafted Peyton Manning the year he threw the record touchdowns. So that certainly helped. I mean, I remember playing the first guy, the guy in week 1, and Manning threw 7 touchdowns. He's just like, dude, you suck. Like, I won because of Peyton Manning, and I actually was out of the country when, like, I won. So I didn't even know I won for like a few days before, like after the fact. So crazy, but yeah, it's been a rough year. It really has for fantasy football.
Yeah.
So you tell me you didn't even get to celebrate your first championship in the moment? Because I'll be talking.
Crazy enough, I missed that, and I missed the Kansas City game when the Colts made that crazy comeback. I missed both of them because I was out of the country.
Man, I celebrate my stuff in the moment. Like once I know it's over, I'm already talking mess to everybody, every chat, every text. I'm talking mess as soon as I know it's over. So
it was funny when I won that championship. I was watching a movie. I was at a movie theater and I was watching it. And then I put my phone away. And after the movie was over, I checked my phone. The first thing I see is a message. And my friend said, "You ass." And then I checked. I'm like, oh, I had to have won. And I checked. I won. I was like, yes. Yes. So that was great.
The classic "you ass" text.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, that is funny. That was some good resumes, man. We got the 2-for-1 special today, Vic.
Yeah, man, those are fire. And hey, if you guys want to catch our football resumes, that's our very first episode. Back when we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. I still don't think we know what we're doing as far as with this podcast stuff. But if you want to catch that, that's our very first episode.
We're winging it, all right. We're winging it. It is.
Okay.
But all right, so let's get into what's the word, man. And we'll start off with the Hood TMT by Dynasty Bro Vic. And then we're going to move on to the injuries, and we're going to do the B team players of the week, and we are going to save the best for last on the what's the word. So Vic, let's get straight to it.
All right, so you guys already called it the Hood TMZ. For one, TMZ, we already know what they're about. They're all about messiness and just, pulling back the covers on all the drama that's going on. And it's the Hood because we want to know what's going on in the streets. So you guys watch ESPN all day. We know about Javon Williams getting into a fight and suspended on the field. But what's really going on? So we take it a step further as far as going on, just giving you guys a closer look. So let's start with the rap sheet on Twitter. Of course, it's election day. We're not going to get into the politics, but 90% of active players register to vote. So I know I voted early, but we're just going to acknowledge that. And again, not to get into the politicals, but I just want to call that out since today's election day. Let's keep it pushing. So with NFL update, my sports update, after 8 weeks, we have the draft order set as of right now in terms of how it would play out if the draft took place today. So number 1 draft pick right now will go to the Jets. Number 2, the Giants. 3, Jaguars. 4, Dolphins. 5, Cowboys. So I'm not going to read off all 10, but do you guys think the Jets will maintain that number 1 draft pick, or will it go to the Giants or Jaguars?
Go ahead, Cody.
I think it's gonna be the Jets. The Jets are awful. Like, it's so bad. I feel so terrible for Sam Darnold, man. Like, good grief. Yeah, the Jets are a disaster. And if I'm a Jets fan, I'm like, please don't fire Adam Gase because I don't want to win another game at this point. Like, he's just awful. But yeah, I definitely go Jets.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jets too. I mean, I think at this point, what they're going to try to do is they're going to leverage that they have the number 1 pick, and then you can give away Sam Darnold for something pretty good to add to that long list of draft picks that they're going to get. I mean, they already know first pick, they're probably going to go Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence actually decides to go into the NFL draft, he could just say, nah, I think I'll stay at Clemson for another year and, just screw over the Jets. But, they're bad. They're really bad. My friend hates Adam Gase with a passion. It's amazing that this man still has a job. Yeah, the Jets are going to keep the number 1 pick. The Giants are still trying to win, and the Jaguars are still trying to win.
Yeah. What about you, Dad? What are your thoughts on that?
It'd be interesting to see the Jaguars without Gardner Minshew this week. They look horrible too, man, but they still have at least pieces that I like, at least on offense. The Jets I don't like anything the Jets have going on at all, man. That's a damn shame. That's an NFL team, man. It's an NFL team. And that's an NFL coach. Adam Gase, why does he deserve to be a coach of anything?
The man looked like he was high at his own press conference, man. Them eyes was like...
Yeah.
What the hell? Like, where am I at?
He's riding the Peyton Manning wave down there from Denver. Like, that was all Peyton Manning, and Adam Gase just happened to be on the staff, and there you go.
Oh, yeah.
But so I will say this. I think the Jets will maintain the top pick, but I do think the Jaguars are pushing for that top pick, just given they are benching Gardner. Of course, we know Gardner's not the best, but he's definitely the best QB in that Jacksonville room. But clearly they want to tank. That's how I'm seeing it. If they're going to pull Gardner for a mysterious finger issue at this point, coming off the bye. And of course, with the Giants, we saw that they're actually competing. They're playing hard. Their defense actually is, not that bad. And we saw Tom Brady. Great. Yeah, he was frustrated last night with that Giants defense. So I don't think the Giants will finish with the top, with a top 3 pick.
I will say this is one of those years, in my opinion, I know everybody's lusting over Trevor, but Justin Fields is fire too. So even if you fall with and get the number 2, he's just as good, just as highly touted coming out of high school. They were always neck and neck no matter what. So
it is astounding to me that there are people that have him number 4, number 5 on their draft boards. Like, are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. This season, Justin Fields in 2 games has 10 throws of 30-plus yards, and he has completed 8 of those, and the only 2 incompletions came off of drops that were in the end zone by his best receiver, Chris Olave. So what else do you want from this guy? I mean, people are questioning, does he have a deep ball accuracy? Yes, he does. He shows it to you every Saturday, but yet people just ignore it because he's an Ohio State quarterback. That's why.
Yeah, he's a dog, man.
Dog.
Yeah. Woo. Sorry, let me calm down.
I would love for the Colts to trade up to get him. I would so be okay with telling the Giants, if you get the number 2 pick, please, I would be more than happy to give up 2 first-rounders and a 3rd rounder to say, move up to number 2 and take Justin Fields. Please. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I agree, because our defense is already in play. I mean, we have a win now defense, so why not take advantage of that? Of course, we all know Phillip Rivers is a stopgap, whether that's 1 season or 2. So why not get a young player? So,
and we know that Ballard can draft beyond the first round. So we'll be all right.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. He's shown, man. We've gotten a lot of great value, on day 2 and day 3 of the draft.
Yep.
All right, so let's keep it pushing. I do want to shout out Duran. He's in the comments, so he said definitely the Jets, and so I just want to call that out. But let's look at Twitter again. So shout out to Shefty. So it's been announced that, the Super Bowl is going to be played in Tampa Bay, and they're actually going to allow 13 to 15,000 people in the stands. So, of course, that stadium typically holds 65K, but it's going to be 13 to 15K in the stands given the pandemic. So I just want to put that out there. Mm-hmm. Hopefully one day I can afford some Super Bowl tickets on the 50-yard line.
Oh man, dude, you talking tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Once your brand takes off, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's a goal. I'm gonna definitely that's a goal, man. So we'll see.
We're gonna have to win a contest, Vic.
That's true. Which one will come first? All right, let's keep it pushing. Shout out to NFL Update. So I like, they provide a lot of great updates with what's going on around the league. So that's at My Sports Update. So apparently, wide receiver Antonio Brown has been staying at Tom Brady's house as he gets caught up on the playbook. And of course, I go click on the tweet and I see the first comment, and the first comment says, "Hopefully, AB's not in Brady's bedroom with Gazelle when Brady's not there." I'm like, only on fucking Twitter you see shit like that. Like the first comment.
The internet is savage, man.
It is, man.
Turn anything into that.
Internet, there's no rules on the internet, man. But I just want to call that out. Clearly, AB, he's getting ready to play next week, so looking forward to that. What are you guys' thoughts on AB fitting into that Tampa Bay offense?
Well, me personally, again, I'm not a fan of Antonio Brown. Don't like the guy as a person. I think he's done a lot of things that should have kept him out of the NFL. And hell, they still have to do that investigation on him in December on whether or not he actually sexually assaulted those people. So that still remains to be seen. But in regards to actually learning the system and being with Tom Brady, I mean, in one game, we saw him tear it up on the field with Tom Brady. So, and with the way that Tampa Bay is looking right now, especially offensively, I mean, you just throw it to Antonio Brown, he's going to catch it. I mean, Antonio Brown, even at like 80%, is still better than 95% of receivers in this league. So, I mean, I feel bad for guys like Scotty Miller because Scotty Miller is a former Falcon, just like myself. And it's amazing to see BG Falcon in the NFL, and let alone actually contributing really well in the vertical game. But, Antonio Brown might take some of them snaps away from him, but I mean, he fits into this system perfectly. Deep vertical threat that they want to continue to have. Tom Brady can still let it rip. I mean, Antonio Brown, as long as he stays on the field and doesn't get kicked out for another reason, I mean, he's going to fit right in.
I agree.
Fantasy team loves it, man. Bring another weapon? Yes, sir.
Dude, that's crazy, man. When they're at full health, they got so many people that he can throw it to. That shit's crazy.
Yeah, I think AB is a great fit. Of course, football talent, but off the field, there are some question marks. It was a circus last offseason, so hopefully he has his head on straight, and hopefully he has the right people around him to keep him on a straight and narrow track. I will say this: I think Tom Brady, look, he's what, 40 plus years old. We know he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's always looking to the future. With his current wide receiver core, he knew that they needed some help, so he's willing to at least vouch for his guy and have the organization take a chance on him. And we already know AB is going to do damage in the slot, and usually those wide receivers for the Bucs stay banged up between Mike Evans and also now Godwin from time to time. So Tom Brady feels like he has a chance to win now. So why not bring in a solid veteran and get AB his first ring? Wait, he actually got a ring, right, with the Steelers? Am I mistaken?
I don't think so.
I don't
think he was on the
Okay.
I don't think he was on any of those lists. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, somebody fact check me. I'm sure the internet will be all over that. But all right, so I just wanted to call that out. Hopefully AB's not spending any time in the master bedroom when Brady's not there.
Oh my God.
That was the first. That was the first comment I saw, man. Twitter is like savages, man. All right, how about this? We're going to pivot to something more wholesome. I got a Russell Wilson, what's the word update. So that's more wholesome. So shout out to Russ. Apparently, he spends over $1 million every year on his body and diet. So he has 2 chefs, and he says he trains 363 days a year, and he only takes off Christmas and Thanksgiving. And clearly, the guy's a machine. He's, the best deep ball in the game, if you ask me. Reason why I wanted to call this out just because we know guys like LeBron James, and, I never would have thought Russ spends that much money, but clearly if you got it and it's, to take care of your body, it's definitely well worth it. So shout out to Russ being a part of the $1 Million Club in terms of the dieting and chef lanes.
He got to, man. He runs the ball. He's not the biggest quarterback. He takes hits. He's mobile. He throws. He's going to have to keep his body right. So, yeah, shout out to Russ. He's a dog, too.
All right, man. So let's transition to these injuries, Dot. You got any injuries for us for today?
You called me mid-drink. I almost killed myself.
My bad.
All right. Y'all want me to just start with the Colts? I'm only doing offensive guys if that means anything. But T.Y. Hilton, man, it's always one thing with T.Y., man. It's getting sad at this point, man. How do y'all feel about T.Y. going down with another groin injury, man? Our receiving core just can't get right, man. But T.Y. went down this week, didn't return. How y'all feel about T.Y.?
Yeah, I mean, it does suck that over, the last 2 seasons, this guy has just not been able to avoid injuries. It's actually been 3 seasons in a row now, but in 2018, he just dealt with that ankle injury by not practicing all week and just played in the games. So, I mean, it's been a while coming now that this guy's just continuing to have issues. Cody and I have been kind of adamant on how we feel for his future with the Colts if he continues on the trend that he's at right now. So, it does suck because the Colts wide receiver position just never can stay healthy. Never. It's like we never get any freaking luck when it comes to this crap, man. I mean, Michael Pittman going down with a random leg compartment syndrome, got that out of nowhere. And, Paris Campbell, to no fault of his own, gets his leg smashed in. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, and it stinks too because everyone holds that against Ballard. It's like Ballard can't help these things. You just draft guys, and if they get injured all the time, there's really not much you can say. I mean, especially for those two guys, like, you know, Hilton's never had an injury problem except for recently. Michael Pittman's never had an injury problem. Paris Campbell's never had an injury problem. So it's like, you know, it's just unfortunate luck.
True that.
Yeah, it just sucks to watch T.Y. Hilton, one of my favorite receivers ever. You know, watching him, you know, you kind of saw it with Reggie Wayne at the end of his career. It's just like Father Time catches up with him eventually, especially in the receiver position where you need to be, you know, physically at your peak. It really stinks to see that. Hopefully, you know, he can get back from this injury and can really make a strong second half of the season campaign. But right now, man, it's sad. It's sad to watch that. It's hard to watch that. And yeah, like Derek said, man, if something doesn't change, I honestly think the Colts are gonna move on. I really do, and that sucks because I love T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, man, he's a hell of a receiver for the Colts and has been for years, man. So it sucks. I don't ever want to see somebody go out because of injuries, man. It's, you know, go out on your own call, man. You deserve that, especially when you've been good for so long. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, well, I'll be honest, man. I love T.Y. as a talent, but, you know,
I don't like the, let's be honest. This ain't going to be good news, heads up.
I actually kind of pitched this on the redraft show. I mean, look at what's happening in Cincinnati with the AJ Green situation. If they would have moved him during the offseason, they would have got probably like the most value that they could have, even though we know AJ Green's on a decline given the injuries. Let's go down to Atlanta. Similar situation. Julio stays banged up. Why not trade him, you know, while you can get the most out of him, especially as for an aging wide receiver. Now let's bring it home to the Colts. Same thing with T.Y. I love the talent, but, you know, he's just at that age where once you're trending towards 30 and over 30, why not just trade him while the name's hot? That way we're not in this A.J. Green situation. So I think now's the time to move on. I love what he's done. He's been a great part, you know, especially with the Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton combo. But if we want to, you know, max out or cash out, now's the time. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So,
and that hurts, man. I got on a Colts shirt and a Colts hat, man. Like, you think that felt good?
Yeah,
I'm a super fan of that.
Yeah, we've kind of got that same thing too from a bunch of fans. Like, you know, we've been saying the same thing too about, you know, Jonathan Taylor, which obviously we're going to talk about. You know, guys like Jonathan Taylor, T.Y. Hilton haven't quite performed the way we all thought they would this year. And then and then we start calling that out and we start saying, you know, what's the realistic expectation going forward? And then people start crucifying us for saying the possibility of us, you know, maybe having Wilkins starting or maybe moving T.Y. Hilton on. Like, guys, we're not telling the Colts what we think they should do. We're just saying there's the possibility that this could happen. Like, stop taking it so personally. We're just like you said, Ving. I mean, we're Colts fans too. We ride or died for these guys. We watch them all the time, just as much as anyone else does. We're more involved in it than a lot of fans are, and yet it's not fun for us to say these things. We just have to be objective.
Yeah, right. Man. The truth hurts, man.
It does. The truth hurts. Meek Mill said it best.
I like that Meek Mill reference.
All right. Any other injuries? I did want us to get a chance to rant on T.Y. since he's a Colts guy. So I'll speed through these other three real quick because they're kind of important. Kenny Golladay did leave the game against the Colts with a hip injury. He's a good fantasy wide receiver, man. So just pay attention, man, to if he's going to play next week. And then Darrell Henderson, running back for the Rams. He's been on a tear as far as scoring touchdowns. He went out, exited early with a thigh injury. And Tevin Coleman just came back from a knee injury, re-injured that same knee. Don't know when he's coming back, hasn't had a word yet. So just be on the lookout, pay attention to those injuries, man. Those are guys that could be running in your lineup. And that's all that.
Another big injury, though, I want to call out George Kittle, man. So he's done for the season. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back week 12 because he's a freak of nature. But in all seriousness, I wouldn't be surprised if he's back, you know, the round 2 of the playoffs or even championship week. So I know they're calling it a season-ending injury, but, man, you guys know George Kittle's a freak of nature, man. So,
well, you know, it's only 8 weeks. I mean, obviously that takes you to the end of the season, but that's just the end of the regular season. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember what San Francisco's record is right now. I don't think it's that great, but I mean, yeah, they have such a long injury list right now. I mean, I think they had 20 players on their injury list. I mean, that is just phenomenal.
Yeah, especially Nick Bosa being a big name on defense. That's out. And so, yeah. Okay, those are all the injuries. Any other injuries before we transition?
Nah, that's pretty much it, man.
All right, let's get to the flag on the play, man. Dad, you want to explain flag on the play?
You sure you don't want to do the B team first, man? And
Okay.
doing this, we should probably just end on a flag on the play, man. It's
All right. Okay, we'll pivot. So the big team players of the week, the Brodies of the week. All right, explain that then. What's the Brodies of the week?
Brodies of the week is, we love the B team guys because there's no A team without the B team guys pushing them through the week. And they work their ass off. So when they finally get their opportunity, they go in and they bust ass in real games. So we like to call out the guys that get called up in the middle of a game. We didn't expect them to play any. And they go in and they show up for their team, or they score a touchdown, they make a big play. That's the B team player of the week. Brodies of the week, we like to call them. And we seem to find a couple of them every week, man. So Vic, you take it over. Expose these Brodies of the week, man.
All right, this is a big deal. Like with this segment, we found Jonnu Smith last year, who's like I know he's just outside the top 7 as far as the tight end position, but he's having a nice season. So these are dynasty stashes. Like make note of these players because these are the future stars and rising players of the league. So this is where we like to just share our screen. We hop into the film room and we just watch some film, man. So the first one, we're going to go to Seattle. DJ Dallas. Well, actually, wrong screen. Here we go. So he's a rookie out of Miami. As you guys see, he actually scored a couple touchdowns. Scored one on the ground. That was a 6-yard run. Way to find the edge. And then he also had one in the air. So shout out to DJ Dallas stepping in for the injured Carlos Hyde and also Chris Carson, man. Rookie. So just that's another thing you guys want to watch. Just the Seattle backfield in general. Hey, if those guys are banged up, Carson and Hyde, fire up DJ Dallas again. Clearly he's showing he can get it done.
All right.
True. It's a good play.
All right, now let's go to Denver, man. So I got another one for you guys. KJ Hamler.
Recognize.
Wide receiver out of Penn State, man. So this was a game winner. Way to show awareness. Way to get the butt cheek down. A butt cheek counts as 2 feet. Touchdown. Game winner, man.
Getting tackled by Jerry Jeudy. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know KJ Hamler, man. He is definitely a big play fanatic. I mean, that's what he was at Penn State. Penn State's missing him now because, man, they have a really short wide receiver group right now. Yeah, KJ Hamler was a nightmare for a lot of people at Penn State.
Yeah, man. So hopefully you guys got some KJ Hamler and DJ Dallas and Dynasty fantasy football. So,
all right,
yeah, all right. Late round rookie picks too.
All right.
Oh, real quick, I do got to shout out Dynasty Price, man, with the Dynasty Nerds. DJ Dallas is this guy. I think DJ even sent Price like an autographed jersey. So like, I know he was ecstatic to see DJ hit the end zone. So shout out to Dynasty Price. That's his guy.
I seen that, man. I keep getting notifications talking about DJ Dallas from him. So shout out to Dynasty Price, man.
That's his guy. His guy's doing work.
All right, look, flag on the play. This is a flag on the play. If you go out and you do something that costs your team anything, a penalty, you go do something boneheaded, just any kind of situation you got yourself in that makes you look bad, you get a flag on the play. And this is probably the worst flag on the play I've ever seen on video, man. It is. Hey, man, watching it in real time is just stupid as hell.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it, man. It's stupid. So, Vic, you explain what's going on in the video, man, because this guy, he did get suspended for 2 games. That's
all right.
Go, tell what's happening in this video, man.
All right, so we're gonna go to Chicago and look at wide receiver Javon Wims. Hopefully you guys can see this. Yep. Wide receiver that's still juiced up after the play, but we're going to see why is he so juiced up. I don't have him in Dynasty. I don't know if you guys have him in Dynasty, but let's watch what happened. Okay. I don't know what's going on.
All right. He walks over. Hey, you got something there? Oh.
Do you want to fight? I don't know.
Hey, Hey, get off my boy, man. Get off my boy. Hey, what your ass do? Hey.
Yeah, that's exactly
everybody needs a friend like Janoris Jenkins who jumps on this man's back and says, "What you doing?"
Exactly. Ask questions later. Whoop ass now. Yeah. Why were we fighting?
See, like, that's funny too, because you watch that in real time and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yes, man.
I understand if you want to go fight somebody because you're blocking somebody and neither one of you wants to really let go, and then tempers start flaring. I get that. Walks over to this man, points at his jersey, and then just starts to throw a haymaker. Like, what? I must have missed something in the middle of that game because
he lost the necklace. It looked like, or something like that.
He wanted to take his chain. All right,
chain. Okay, yeah.
Did he even actually give a reason as to why he did it?
So so the so the play before this, the cornerback that he went and fired off on had got into it with Anthony Miller, and I guess he had stuck his finger in Anthony Miller's face mask and touched his cheek.
Oh.
That was literally the play before. But
somebody said that he spit on him.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to shout out BSO, Black Sports Online. They basically called out Javon Williams, said Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who's the safety out of Florida, he spit on him basically the play before. So that's what happened. So he punched him in the face twice. So apparently he spit on him too. And if you guys watch Chauncey, he's kind of like a gnat out there on the field. And actually, that's the guy that got into a fight with Michael Thomas a couple of weeks ago, if you guys remember that.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So he's definitely – I can see that guy being an irritable guy. And most DBs are, one of those guys that like to try to get under your skin. It's a position where you just got to try to get in playmakers' heads. So not surprising, but Javon Williams just has to be a little bit smarter about that.
Yeah, I don't even think you really have to be smart. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that it's not a smart idea. First off, I understand you might be mad at the guy, but also to punch him in the helmet, come on, man, that ain't going to do nothing but destroy your hand. Why? I don't understand. You had to have known from a young age that you hit somebody's helmet, that shit don't feel good. It doesn't. I've had my hand smashed by a couple helmets. That shit does not feel good at all.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Wikipedia. Go ahead, Doc.
I think my issue was after the first punch, you got no reaction. I think he got even more mad.
Gardner Johnson actually replied to that at the end of the game and said he hits like a female.
Yeah.
Oh man. Those are fighting words.
Some sexist stuff going on. Females did not like that comment across the globe, man. No way.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Wikipedia, man. So, of course, whenever something goes down on the internet, someone always edits to Wikipedia. So, Javon Williams, Wikipedia got updated to born September 11th, 94, American football wide receiver for the Bears. He played college football at Georgia. He made his professional boxing debut against the New Orleans Saints.
And it didn't go over well.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, man.
Yeah.
The internet, bro.
Yeah, man. So make sure you guys check out Chauncey's Wikipedia. He also got an update, too. They basically said he took an L. But that's a flag on the play to Javon Williams. Yeah.
How did Johnson take the L? He took that first punch like a champ. He didn't even move. He's like, what happened?
Yeah, it was weird. But I do want to say this, going back to the Janoris Jenkins. Out of all of my friends, a guy that's going to swing and ask questions later, that's my guy Dot. So I want to know between Cody and Derek, who's the guy that's going to swing and ask questions later? Why were we fighting?
1,000% Derek.
I'll put somebody on the ground, man. I gained about 70 pounds since high school. Okay, I'm a little heavier now. I ain't no 180 pound anymore, but yeah, that's my friend. That's my friend Chase. He would say he went through the police academy when he was getting out of college, and he knows how to fight. And he's definitely a big guy. He's very buff. So yeah, if I had somebody in my corner that's going to get somebody on with me, yeah, it's definitely my friend Chase.
All right, shout out to the guys that'll swing and ask questions later, and let your
be late.
Hey, and it'll tell you, what, Vic, you was wrong. Like, why were we even in that? So
why was we fighting, bro? Because I want to know on the back end, like, was it worth me and my energy? That's the things I want to know later.
That's just how it goes, man. All right, so before we get to this rookie temperature check, Derek and Cody, tell the guys where they can follow you at, all of our listeners, and also what you guys got going on with Bring the Juice.
Go ahead, Cody.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. So, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much everywhere. And then also, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like basically anywhere there's to listen to a podcast, we're there. You can find us at Bring the Juice Colts Podcast. You can find us at BTJ Pod. You can find me at CP Felger 55. I think it's at Derek _Larger, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so recently we've just been doing, the game recaps, game previews, all that fun stuff. Been doing some live streams. Derek's been doing some live streams of the game, so like play-by-play. That's been going pretty well. Yeah. Actually made a highlight thing of Derek last night. And people were like, dude, you sound like Matt Taylor, the Colts radio announcer. So that was pretty sweet. Yeah, we just recorded a couple podcasts today. Did a game preview today. We're going to post that on Thursday with another YouTuber, Ravens YouTuber. What else did we do, Derek? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, we just did a couple of the one that premieres tomorrow about why we feel more confident about this 2020 5-2 Colts team versus the 2019 5-2 Colts team. Kind of give some of the reasons why we feel this team's not going to have the same result of last year where we kind of hit a drop off. We give reasons why we don't feel we're going to have that this year.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, Derek, you may want to pull the mic closer to you. And then also, can you just explain to our listeners what is Bring the Juice podcast? What do you guys cover primarily?
Yeah, man. So Bring the Juice is basically I was telling you guys off air, and I was telling the Ravens guy off air, Bring the Juice is basically anyone that follows the Colts and knows anything about the depth of it. We know Coach Reich and Darius Leonard love to say, bring the juice, bring your own juice. That's kind of where, the name came from, and it sticks. It's a Colts related topic. So it's like, it makes sense to make that a name, and it's catchy. It's something that gravitates people. And for, just recent stuff, just doing more of doing the live streams is fun. I couldn't do that all throughout October because of me being sick, but me finally getting back, I'm enjoying doing it because I enjoy interacting with the community that we're bringing together, and people just love talking Colts football, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And I want you guys to know, hey, Bring the Juice podcast, they're my go-to source for all Colts updates. So I love the work you guys are doing. I mean, everyone knows who listens to this show, I'm a huge Colts fan, and I want you guys to know you guys are literally my number one source. So I lean on you guys. It helps me out in fantasy, especially when you guys talk with these other teams. Like I know a while back you guys did a show with the Jets when we were playing the Jets, and it's just great to hear, why we're going to kick the Jets' ass, and hearing those guys be honest about, hey, here's where we lack, and also here's our strengths, here's our weaknesses. So I just want to shout you guys out, and to our listeners, man, definitely listen in on podcasts like Bring the Juice as they hone in on the Colts and these other teams too. It'll just help you be a better fantasy player.
Appreciate
all
it,
things Colts, man. You guys are fire.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So make sure you guys follow my guys at BTJ Pod, which is Bring the Juice Pod. So yeah, these are my go-to. And I had to bring these guys in just because with the Dynasty fantasy community, there's just been a lot of concerns with Jonathan Taylor. So I want to get your guys' honest input. But before we get into that, Dot, where can they follow you at?
It don't even matter. I'm just playing. Follow me at Dynasty Bro Style on Instagram and Twitter. Follow the main Instagram page at Dynasty Bros FF. Hey, Cobra, where can they find you at
Chief Sosa FF. I switched my name from Dynasty Bro Big to Chief Sosa FF because I felt Chief Sosa sounds cooler. That's all that was about. It's been sticking. It's still hitting. We still rocking with that. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast, Dynasty Bros FF. We play Dynasty football. Hey, we're all in. We're your go-to source. So if you guys got any fantasy football, Dynasty questions, hit us up. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube where you can see guys like Javon Williams lose their shit and get suspended for 2 weeks for throwing girly punches. So check that clip out on our YouTube.
and I would tell you where to follow our DJ at, but he might not be there. So fuck it. Don't go follow him right now. He might not be there. Just let you know.
All right. So with that being said, let's get into this rookie temperature check. Dot, what is rookie temperature check?
Rookie temperature check is, hey, we're week 8. We just finished up week 8. And it's like, all right, I need to know what's going on with these guys that got drafted. We were excited about, some we were worried about. Halfway through the season, where are they at right now? How are they producing? Are they making any noise on my fantasy team? Or is this one of the things I need to put on a back burner for the rest of the season? We need to figure out where we stand on these rookies. So that's what we're going to do. And like I said, glad we got some Colts guys on because we got a couple Colts guys that are important in fantasy, honestly. Redraft and in Dynasty that are important. And then we're going to chime in on, because it was a heavy rookie class. So we're going to chime in on some other guys outside of just the Colts guys. So that's what we're doing, man. Just trying to see where they stand right now halfway through the season.
I like that intro. And of course, with the meals, we start with the appetizer, the main entree, and dessert. Hey, we're going to get straight to the dessert. Sometimes you just got to eat dessert. So we're going to start with Jonathan Taylor, get the people what they want. I know he's been a big question mark for the Dynasty community. So there's a lot of concerns, man. I'm just going to open the floor to you guys. What are you guys seeing with Jonathan Taylor? What's going on with him? Is he worth holding? Should we trade him in Dynasty football? So first, talk us through what's happening with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, Cody, I'll let you start with that, and I'll go after you.
Okay. It has been such a weird season for Jonathan Taylor. I'll say that. I mean, gosh, I was trying to trade for him whenever Marlon Mack went down, and I couldn't get a trade for him, and I was super upset. But now I'm like, maybe that was a blessing in disguise because it's been weird this year with Jonathan Taylor. Like, coming in, you see his stats at Wisconsin, and you're just like, oh my word, this guy's on another level, compared to the other running backs. And then he comes in, and I don't want to say it's been underwhelming, but it's just been like, this isn't the type of runner we thought we were getting, at least right now. And, I think we talked about this a lot, Derek, on our podcast with the different reasons for that. And it's not all Jonathan Taylor's fault as well. I mean, literally the guy came in with no preseason, wasn't expected to be the starter coming in. It was supposed to be Marlon Mack, and then Mack goes down week 1. So all of a sudden he's thrust into the starting role. And, since then, he's had some ups, he's had some downs. He had a 100-yard game in his first start. So it was looking promising. And then I just feel like he hasn't been utilized a ton. And last week was obviously his worst game, I would say, in terms of rushing yards per game. So right now, we talked about it a little bit earlier on this stream, but like Jordan Wilkins potentially would be a guy that when you're talking about guys who really we didn't expect to do anything, Jordan Wilkins is one of those guys. He just kind of came in, whatever quarter that was, and ran for almost 100 yards. So right now, Jonathan Taylor, from a fantasy perspective, I would stay away from him because we already know the Colts like to do that running back by committee, and maybe they're going to double down on that now with how productive Jordan Wilkins has been.
Yeah.
True.
See, now I'm okay with, if you're in a deep fantasy league, keeping a hold of Jonathan Taylor. Now, I will say this. Jonathan Taylor did have I believe it was an ankle injury at the end of that game, which kept him out of the second half of that Lions game for the majority of it. So that's pretty much why they don't expect it to be anything serious, but that's just what they were saying. But yeah, like we said, it's not been all Jonathan Taylor's fault. The offensive line has been very underwhelming for run blocking this year. Ryan Kelly just really hasn't looked the same. He got dominated in that Lions game. I don't know how much film you guys actually watched, but there were multiple blocks where Ryan Kelly got dominated off the line, and a couple times where he just didn't look like he knew where he was going. So all these runs that the Colts were trying to do inside the tackles weren't able to go anywhere because the line wasn't blocking very well. Now, there were also a couple times, and this is understandable, that Jonathan Taylor's vision against NFL defenses right now is not very good. And that's obviously because he hasn't had a lot of time to prepare. And college is different than the NFL. You can be the best running back in college. It doesn't matter. NFL defenses run at a different speed. They run at a different pace. And, I think he knows what he needs to do, but he's still learning. We had that same issue with Marlon Mack his first year, and look at where Marlon Mack became in his third year. I mean, Marlon Mack was running all over defenses. So, for the long haul, I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be okay. Right now, obviously very underwhelming against the Lions, only 22 rushing yards. I believe had one catch for about 5 yards in that game. So, he really only got about 3.5 points in fantasy if you're in a PPR league. So, yeah, like you said, very underwhelming. And now with Jordan Wilkins, potentially taking that starting role, I would say this. I think that you could potentially see Jonathan Taylor actually get some some more explosive plays coming up soon because he'll be in the second half, and you could see him be going up against defenses that are more gassed. You could see him potentially do more. So I would hold on to it just a little bit. Give him a little bit more time. If he continues to do this over the next couple of weeks, then you might want to abandon him because the Colts are going to be facing some better defenses coming up.
Yeah. What you got, Doc?
Okay. I have a legit question for the two Colts guys. We are a dynasty, so I need to know this because I just made a trade, and I know Saquon is down, but in dynasty, I do expect Saquon to come back. He's a bell cow. We don't have that many bell cows that flourish, catching passes out the backfield, and can get all the runs, and is explosive, can make the big plays. So I actually just in my dynasty league that I'm kind of losing in anyway, just went and traded Jonathan Taylor and Drew Lock and got Saquon Barkley. I'm kind of just resetting. I don't think I can win this year right now. Do you think Jonathan Taylor, fast forward a year, is going to be a bell cow running back, or just this system isn't going to call for it no time soon right now? Like, we can develop good running backs, we keep good O-line. Like, are we just going to always, run out a couple and always keep, a third down back? How do you think the future holds? Because a lot of us were excited about Jonathan Taylor and his talent coming into the season. Like, okay, we finally got a guy who can be a bell cow workhorse. Do you think Jonathan Taylor will reach that in the next couple of years, or will he just be a good NFL running back? I need to know these things because in Dynasty, we have a viewpoint of what we want Taylor to be, but sometimes you have to come down to reality and decide, like, okay, it won't be what we thought, but he'll still be good. How do y'all feel about him going further in this offense fast forward next year?
I think for a year or two down the road, that you have no problem with saying he is going to be the workhorse for the Colts in the future going forward. Because we already saw a couple weeks into the season that, he can run the ball 20, 25, 30 times in a game. That's not an issue for him. I think if the offensive line continues to get better, because right now that's one of the main hindrances for him right now. And as his vision continues to get better and he understands how to hit the right hole, I think that as time goes on, you're going to see Jonathan Taylor continue to become more productive, because I think one thing that's been underutilized with him is in the past, he's actually been very productive. I think a lot of times we just don't see that because we know Naheem Hines takes the majority of that role, but Jonathan Taylor's done very well in the pass game. I think they just need to continue to do that with him more often. And I think the rushing attack will get better for him as the seasons go on.
Yeah, okay. But then I just look at the way the Colts use their running backs. I think they should re-sign Marlon Mack, quite honestly. And I just think the way the Colts use their running backs, right now, with like the way that Rivers spreads out the ball and the way the Colts are going to be using their running backs, just running back by committee, and we've seen that with Frank Reich, I'm just not like huge on any really Colts skill position players right now. And that's just maybe my preference, but like kind of what I've seen is just like they like to spread the ball around. And from a fantasy perspective, it's not really great.
Okay. Yeah. So, Vic, you go, and then I would like to say what he's saying and roll into Michael Pittman. But you touch real quick on your Jonathan Taylor tape.
Yeah, I agree with Cody. Phillip Rivers definitely playing point guard out there. He looks like he's the point guard for Butler. Everyone scores 10 points, 3 assists, and, it's just real balance, right? So you don't know who's going to break out. So I agree. And going back to the Taylor comments, and we got to keep in mind, like, fantasy is a game within, real life. So it's a game within a game with fantasy football. When you hang 42 points or 41 points on the Detroit Lions, and if you got a banged up running back, your starting running back, you can leave him on the sideline, right? So we got to keep that in mind too. So we got to, not just look at our apps and see what he's doing from a fantasy production standpoint. We got to keep in mind what's happening in real life with the real NFL game script. It didn't call for Jonathan Taylor to be out there on the field. So I think the Colts are going to take advantage of that. We have a winning record right now. So just given that, we're going to preserve Taylor as we trend and head towards the playoffs. So I definitely think we're a wild card team. So we don't have to break him down, especially mid-season. So if you got these opportunities where you can rest him, we're going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, so the one thing Cody said that just stuck out to me is I had one of the fantasy football homies text me and said, "Hey, I think I'm done with Colts players in fantasy football." And they just basically said they're not going to be one of these teams that force the ball to anybody. Anybody can score. They're just going to do right by the offense. And week to week, as I watch these Colts games, I'm starting to feel like they might be right. So I feel like I'm not moving on. I still love Taylor's talent, but I might be moving off of all of these guys. And I like Michael Pittman. Love Michael Pittman coming in as a prospect. I think he's a great receiver. I like them bringing him in because he offers something different than the other receivers as far as Paris and Ty. He's a big guy, be a red zone threat, and So speaking of Michael Pittman, we invested into him in the second round. What do you think about Michael Pittman going forward here, Derek? Because he was going high in a lot of rookie drafts this year, and we had high hopes for him before he just had this minor little surgery. But what do you think about him, man? Because the one thing I will say is, Phillip Rivers does produce these big receivers with a lot of touchdowns. So if he can come back and show some kind of worth, is that going good for him going forward? Should I have high hopes for Pittman? How do you feel about him?
Yeah, I kind of always made the comparisons that he was kind of like your Mike Williams, just a really tall, athletic guy that can go up and get it. But like you said, and I agree with Cody too on the prospect of the idea that, with Phillip Rivers, it's different for this Colts offense. They really don't go and target one person specifically. If you notice, the wide receiver targets throughout all of this year, the reception numbers, they are almost always identical. Everyone gets 2, 3, 4 catches. It's just a matter of what do you do with those catches. I look for the Colts to potentially start using Pittman later on in the red zone. I think at some point that's going to happen. But in regards to utilizing him as, more of a middle field kind of guy, I don't see it happening. It's just because Phillip Rivers as a quarterback, that's just not his metaphor. He just does not like going for guys in the middle of the field at a consistent pace. So, yeah, I would steer clear for at least right now.
Okay, that makes sense, man. Welcome back, Cody. We were just talking about I was telling him that I appreciate what you said because I had another guy that I really trust his fantasy football opinion and tell me I think I'm done with Colts guys in fantasy because they don't key in on one guy. They don't mind spreading the ball around. Anybody can score. Whoever's in the best situation to score will score. They don't force it down anybody's throat. So I transitioned into telling them that do I need to be moving on from Michael Pittman? Because even though I like his prospects coming out of USC, I compared him to Mike Williams or Phillip. Like in general, does the system call for anybody to actually just stand out and be able to flourish for fantasy football purposes? Or is it just just a team's team? And that's all it's going to be.
Yeah, and I think that maybe is just something you see with Phillip Rivers. So as long as Phillip Rivers is your quarterback, you might see that a little bit more. But, we saw with whenever they had Andrew Luck a few years ago, T.Y. Hilton still was a pretty good fantasy receiver. So I think it's just the quarterback's preference, quite honestly, a little bit. And, with Michael Pittman, I would definitely maybe not start him this year, maybe so as they go down the line. But the thing is, he's so big. He's 6'4", 230 pounds almost. Like, he's going to be used in the red zone. And, I really feel like he's just going to be one of those guys that, you just have to get him one touch, and he can get it for you. So I think he's a guy that I would keep. I would maybe not start him right now, obviously, but, I think later on down the line, the Colts could definitely – and they drafted him, top of the second round, so he's obviously a talent. I would hold on to it for sure. But that's why I think I would probably prefer if you made me choose between those two guys, probably Pittman, just because, it doesn't take him with what the Colts like to do. You can just throw it to him in the red zone and he already gets you, boom, however many points right there with just one catch. So I'd probably, go Pittman if I was choosing between those two guys. But, both these guys are tremendous talents, and I'm excited to see how their roles can continue to expand for sure.
Yeah, I do want to say for me, Taylor and Pittman are both holds for me in Dynasty. Also buy lows if you can go get them. Again, we got to be patient with both these guys. In Dynasty, just remember it's a marathon. A lot of people are playing redraft in Dynasty. They want the instant return right now. Hey, if I take a guy in the first round like Jonathan Taylor, which I did, top of the first round, rookie draft, I'm okay with being patient for the first 3 seasons. I understand a guy has to get acclimated to the league. Hopefully he takes a sophomore leap and then he becomes a young veteran in year 3. So I'm just gonna let the process play out. He's in one of the, one of the best O-lines in the league. Granted, they've, been playing a little subpar lately, but they're still one of the best O-lines in the league running behind Big Q. I'm okay with being patient. And also keep in mind, Phillip Rivers is 38 years old. He's not going to be the QB there forever. So now's a great time to go get Michael Pittman. Hopefully we do land a nice QB, and we're going to transition to the QB here shortly. But Pittman's staying on the field just because of his blocking ability. So if you got a guy that's leading all the wide receivers and just snap percentage just alone, that creates a lot of opportunity, especially in fantasy. So I like the upside for Taylor and Pittman just on that alone.
True that. So you want to transition into the quarterback we actually took in this draft too, man? You want to just go ahead and knock that out the park too?
Yeah, man. So what are your guys' thoughts on Eason? Like, I don't know if you guys want me to give my honest opinion first and then let you guys kind of clean up the mess I'm about to create, or if I go after you guys.
I want to hear somebody else's perspective here.
All right. Here's my thing. We draft franchise QBs in the first round. We did that with Andrew Luck. So I don't see us taking – I don't recall when Eason went. I don't know if it was 3rd round. It was definitely day 3, right? I think 4th round. Okay, so he's a day 3 guy. I don't see him being the future. I feel like there are better options out there. I actually envision the Colts bringing in another veteran before we commit to Eason. I don't think he's the future. So that's my take on Eason. I just don't think he's the future going forward after Rivers.
Well, you and our buddy Zach Hicks would totally get along with that take. He kind of has the same feeling that, Colts drafted him day 3 for a reason, that, you don't just fully commit to somebody that you drafted in the 4th round. But I will say this, that he was a guy that for many people, they were saying, oh, in the 2nd round, watch him go. Because, everyone was like, oh, quarterbacks. We got somebody's going to take Eason in that 2nd round because, he's got the arm talent of a god. So you might as well try and take it. But then those articles came out of, him not being a great leader, not being very motivated to actually play the game of football. Like some random idiot online made that up, and then people just went along with it. So, it ruined the reputation of this guy. And all throughout all training camp and the season, he's been taking everything in. And Nick Sirianni's been saying the same thing. Like, I am impressed with Jacob Eason's ability to understand the game and going through his progressions. He looks like he's ready to be an NFL quarterback here very soon. So, this is a guy that had day 1 potential talent, but, a couple bad reports gave him a really bad rap. So, he has that going for him. And, we don't know what Chris Ballard really has in store for this guy. There's only one Chris Ballard. So, we can only just try to pick the mind of Chris Ballard. But, the opportunity was there. He was in the 4th round. You might as well go and get him because that was an easy pick. As far as him being the future quarterback, I definitely think he can. He's doing everything right to be that way as long as he continues to progress. But like you did say, you draft guys early in the draft for that exact reason, to be starters. That's kind of how the last 20 years for Indianapolis has gone. You draft Peyton Manning 1st round, obviously Andrew Luck with the 1st pick. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect, honestly. It could be a toss-up for anything. Do we get a quarterback this year? Like you said, do we draft another veteran? Or does Phillip Rivers stay? I don't know. It's one of the only position groups where I can't give you a definitive answer as to what I think we can do, but I do believe Eason has the probability to be the future guy.
Yeah, before we get Cody's take, I do want to hit on, your point. We do have a nice GM who knows what the fuck he's doing in Ballard. So maybe, we haven't seen him miss yet. So maybe he hasn't missed at the QB position too. So I will say that's a wild card right now at this standpoint. But I'm just going off of history has shown we take our franchise QB in the first round. But again, we got Ballard, and I'll be honest, I trust Ballard. Like he can literally, I actually trust him to fly a plane. Like I would just literally go to, like, you know what I mean? Like that's how much trust I have in Ballard. Like he just, bro, he knows he just knows what he's doing, man. Like literally, that's how much confidence I have in the guy. But Cody, what's your take on Eason?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like retread everything that Derek said, but I do think he has the physical talent to be be a starting quarterback in this league. He's got the arm strength. He can, fit it into any pass he wants to, and so. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to say. I think out of any of these, obviously, we haven't seen a snap from Jacob Eason. We didn't even see him in the preseason because there was no preseason. So, it's hard to say yes or no. I just think right now he's doing exactly like you said, Derek, what he needs to do. And he's been getting praises from the coaching staff. So, that's great. And that's exactly what you want. If I was the Colts, though, I mean, you definitely need to either, depending on what you do with Rivers. So, say you don't re-sign him. I think either you go sign a veteran or you sell the farm and you go get another quarterback. Or if you fall in love with the quarterback around when you're drafting somehow. That's what I think you do, and then you just let them battle it out, quite honestly. But it depends. It all depends on what Rivers does, because I think Eason does need more time. He needs time to develop, he needs some game action. He really needs some live reps, and we just haven't seen that from him. So it's hard to say yes or no. That's like a really tricky question for sure.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Me and Vic, when we did our scouting in the offseason, the little offseason that we did have, especially after the draft, we kind of decided that Eason was going to be a project anyway. He wasn't ready to go out there and play. I'm glad they brought in a veteran. So even if he's able to sit behind Phillip, even if you're not happy behind Phillip, he's still a vet. He's been in the league forever. He still knows his shit no matter what. And I think Eason's arm strength and the passes that he can make was never the issue. I think coming out of college, it was just more of his decision making, make boneheaded throws, not paying attention. So that's things that can get fixed. You have, you're going into the NFL. You have professional coaches now. You have time to grow, long as you let the guy grow. So I'm excited to see, he take in the playbook this year and just sit back and learn and get comfortable with his guys and his coaches, and then roll into next year and actually put him in a situation where he can compete for a role. And then maybe going into his third year, maybe he can win over some coaches, but he has everything as a quarterback that you want. Size, he has the arm, it's just all decision making, but those things can be fixed. So I'm excited for him. And no matter what, you still need a good backup, even if that's what you're molding them to be, because with everything going on, people going down with injuries, you need the next man up to actually be a decent guy too. So no matter what, I think he's going to be good for the Colts. So I like it.
All right. Before we close, any other comments you guys have as it relates to these Colts players?
Go ahead, Cody, if you got anything.
I mean, yeah, I think to kind of double down on what we talked about earlier, Derek, I think we talked about it just like, okay, if you're in fantasy football this year, literally don't start any Colts receivers.
Cut him. Just get them off the damn roster. Seriously, it's not even worth it at this point. It's really not. Almost the only person that you could potentially want to start if all the quarterbacks are taken away. Phillip Rivers could potentially be a guy that you would maybe start. I mean, if it was a last resort, I mean, if you started him the last couple of games, then you definitely hit a pretty good jackpot with him. I mean, he ain't been too bad over the last couple of days, but yeah, if you had Naheem Hines yesterday, or Sunday, then yeah, you definitely hit gold on that one.
Hey, Cody, remember when we recorded, I told you Naheem might be a sneaky play with Phillip, man. Hasn't been week to week, but he's a hell of a sneaky play.
He is, and that's the thing. I'm just like, just use him more. Like, come on.
Yeah.
He's a weapon.
Every time he gets the ball in his hand, he does that, He makes a highlight play.
It was hilarious because I was watching when he was on Good Morning Football a day before the draft happened in 2018. And he was talking about making the case of why he should get drafted above these other running backs. saying, well, I play multiple positions. I don't just play running back. I play wide receiver. I play return man. I do all of this for you. I am younger, so I give you all of that for less cap space. Also, in the fact that I'm the fastest running back in the whole class. So, like, he was gloating about himself while at the same time trying to be respectful. I loved it. I was like, damn, I can't believe we don't utilize this guy anymore.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking down on my phone. I'm actually doing a dynasty trade. I'm about to trade Stafford for a 21 first. Superflex.
Damn.
So my bad. Yeah. So my bad. I gotta get these trades off.
Hey, you good, man? Do what you gotta do.
Tanking Vic.
I'm actually rebuilding. So yeah, it's I actually just got Lamb and Dobbins, man. So I moved some pieces. But all right.
I hope your Stafford turns into Trey Lance at least, bro.
Yeah, that'll be dope. But I do want to say this. I want the listeners to keep in mind again, like fantasy, it's a game within a game. Like we got to keep in mind the NFL game script, and just keep in mind like the NFL real life production doesn't always translate into fantasy because the Colts are 5-2. Like we're having a successful season. Granted, we're spreading the ball around. I feel like we're just playing point guard with these receivers, but we're winning games. We should be 6-1. Definitely shouldn't have dropped that Jacksonville game, but it's water under the bridge at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And I will say this. We were going to go in and rant on all the rookies, but we did pretty good, man. I'm really glad we got to cover all of the Colts rookies while you guys were here, because who else better to touch on those guys, Pauls, than you two? So we did that, man. I think we're just going to try to part two the rest of the rookies here, because we did not want to prolong you guys until tomorrow morning, because that's what would have happened. Nobody has that kind of time
man, so. I got nothing but time tonight, man. I'm all talking about Colts football, man.
Yeah. Hey, before we get into this closing, tell the people where we can follow you at, and walk them through the closing after they tell people where they can follow them at.
I got you.
Go for it, Derek.
Yeah, so you can follow the Bring the Juice podcast on YouTube, and then obviously for our Twitter at BTJ Pod. I'm at Derek_larger. Cody, what was yours again? I forget yours all the time.
At CP Felger 55.
That's right, CP Felger 55. I mess up because sometimes your last name is before your first name, and it's just like sometimes I mess that one up. But yeah, anywhere you guys listen to podcasts, you can find us on there, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere that you listen to it. So be sure to check us out, man. On the road to 4K.
That's right.
On the road to fucking 4K. Hell yeah. That's a thing. That's a thing. All right, so look.
300 away.
I do like to say that this podcast is more than just, a fantasy football podcast. We do like to make sure that we touch on culture. We like to make sure that we touch on real life situations with people. And so we like to do the closing, and we always like to say something good to the people. And that just gives you the platform to be able to, whether you want to speak on something. I'm going to introduce my closing with something before my actual closing. I want to say two things, but it's basically gives you a platform to speak on whatever you want to talk about, whatever's sitting on your heart. I don't care what it is, funny, sad, deep, whatever. So I'll take off first, and then I'll let you guys do your say something good to the people, and then Vic will go, and then we'll head out. I want to start by saying I hope everybody voted. Don't be one of the guys that complain about needing change and not voting. I'll throw that out there. That was the one thing I want to say. I'll make that quick and easy. Don't want to be too political. My real say something good to the people is I want to thank you guys again. I swear I want to thank you guys and everybody else in the fantasy community. I know I did this before. It was a minute ago, for welcoming us in and to just being good people in general, man. And like I said, I've been in entertainment before. I did music, and the love reciprocated is completely different in that field. And since me and Vic done stepped into the community of the fantasy football community, it's been nothing but love. We've gave out and got it reciprocated. And I appreciate everybody that goes in here, puts their work in, and busts their ass, because it really is work. I don't want anybody. It's fun because we love it, and it might sound like a hobby, but it's still work and it's still a job, and we have to invest our time and energy into it. So I want to thank you guys for doing what you do, everybody else in the fantasy community, whether we talk yet, whether we will in the future communicate. But the whole fantasy community is beautiful, full of love, and I just want to keep on reciprocating that energy back into the community. So that's my say something good to the people. Big one, like you got to laugh, man. What the fuck so funny, man?
I'm laughing because you got so damn long-winded, bro. But damn, it was a great, you know.
Hey, let the man be deep, man. Yeah. Let the man be deep.
I'm showing love to the fantasy community. We did our redraft episode at 7:00. And he got long with it talking about George Kittle for like 3 minutes. Time was up. We're supposed to be done at 7:30. I'm like 7:37, bro. We gonna stop. We got to send a test run to the Brain of Juice podcast. He's just talking about George Kittle, and then gonna ask me, "Hey, do you want to say anything?" No, you done ran the fucking time over.
Bro, George Kittle was way more important. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, that was beautiful, man.
I'm talking about the whole community.
Man, that's good.
Okay, so I'll toss it to you guys. I don't care who go first, man. Anything that's on your heart, anything you want to speak on, man, just touch on it, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think like this is great. Like with everything going on in the world, with all the disagreements with everybody, you know, it feels like everybody's at everybody's throat all the time.
Yeah,
like, this is so nice to just be able to come here and just have a, you know, just a great conversation, and you know, just be friendly with each other and be kind to each other, like. Even if like you don't agree politically, like I don't want to get into that either, but like it's great to just be able to be with good people. Like I just love that, and like regardless of who you voted for or whatever it is, like I just love that. You know, I just love being with good people that you know love the same things as I do, and can just talk about it, and we can have fun regardless of you know where we stand in that regard. So yeah, just thank you guys for welcoming us on, and it's always a lot of fun. Like I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy people who want to, you know, be friends and be able to talk football. It's just so much fun. So shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm about to get kind of deep here. So I do apologize.
Right. Here we go.
I do apologize.
You only apologize to Vic rude ass, really. He's really the only one that cares.
I just got to say, man, look, take every day and treat it like it's special, man, because you know for the longest time I didn't know like how to handle myself. I was at a really bad place mentally, and I don't want to make it sound like cheesy, but this podcast really helped me mentally and emotionally because it gave me something to be able to grasp onto and feel like I was something. And believe me, man, because when I got sick, dude, I mean, for a whole month I was useless. And there was that ultimate moment where there were a lot of people wondering if I was actually going to pull out of it because I was in pretty rough shape. And, you know, I know a couple of family friends who have died just recently due to the hands of, you know, what we're dealing with right now. And I was, you know, almost one of those. So, you know, I was sad because, you know, I couldn't do what I'm doing right now, you know, talking with you guys, just talking football. It's something like that, you know, it really dragged me down emotionally. And I'm just so glad to be back. And I'm not taking it for granted ever because I enjoy this so much. And I'm glad to be able to make connections with guys like you and just being able to talk football and just feel like I got a voice. So, you know, thank you so much again for having us on. It really is awesome to be able to do this.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that. And, you know, of course, our motto is, hey, Dynasty Bros, we show you how to dominate your leagues, Dynasty Bro Style, but we also want you to dominate your life. So that's why I really enjoy the closing. I know we give a lot of fantasy tips, but I really enjoy this just because we want you to go to the drawing boards too, just with, you know, making, you know, just putting yourself in a better position just with in general life. So my theme, my closing hits on a lot of things you guys said. I love sports. It's an opportunity that brings me closer to people who I would never have a chance to talk to on a regular basis, but I'm able to connect with Derek and Cody, you know, and guys who look like me or don't look like me. So that's the beauty of sports, especially fantasy football. So I'm just going to leave you guys with this, since there's a lot going on in the world. Empathy. the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. So I feel like the world would be a better place if we all just operate with empathy. Like no matter what your political views are, just operate with empathy. And, you know, we might not agree on things all the time, and that's okay, but operate with empathy, and I feel the world would be at a better place. So.
Time
You
to
done?
capture that one.
Yeah, man.
done,
Was that deeper than Derek's? Was mine deeper than Derek's? Nah, I wasn't
Nah.
long-winded.
Yours wasn't deeper.
Okay.
Glad I was able to
nobody-
provide the emotional side to this topic.
Yeah.
Nah, you good. We actually appreciate that, man. It's actually, you know, mental health is big, and I've been talking about it heavy recently
Yeah.
because of stuff I'm going through too. So, you know, anything you want to speak on, man, is never too deep, man, because you never know who the next man need to hear it or woman.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Let me shut up.
I just
Say
like
something.
thought of it. So sorry if it's kind of interrupting, but like,
No, you're good.
so a little bit about like if we're just standing on the soapbox a little bit. So Derek knows this more, I guess. Yeah, Derek was there when this happened. So December, I lost my job, right, and that was really rough. Like there was a few, 6-7 months where it was really tough, and like he said, like man, just doing this like helps so much for my mental state, like. Because there was a lot of like hurt from the past, you know, where I was and stuff like that. And so just being able to do this and like seeing our hard work pay off is just huge. We're so humbled for that. And like, shout out to Derek, like, dude, you don't know how much this podcast has meant, you know, to me to be able to do that and work through that, man, because, you know, that's tough. And like when you feel just the way I was feeling for a bit, and be able to come out on the other side, and now, you know, just do it every day, almost something that you love, like, and just seeing the story from, it seems like such a long time ago, about a year ago to now. It's just been a wild ride. It's been a crazy ride, man. I can't thank you enough, man. Wouldn't want to do it with anybody else, you know?
I got you, brother. I got you.
Yeah.
That's fire. I really appreciate y'all and y'all energy, man. It's been awesome and amazing, man. I'm happy this episode did justice for me all the way from beginning to end, man. So thank y'all again. I wish one day me and Vic have that kind of sincere energy towards each other.
Until then, fuck you, Doc. I'm not co-GMing. I'm not co-GMing any more teams with you. I'm literally done with this dude. Like, I hate getting traded, and I got to check with my guy. Can I make? No, I'm done co-GMing.
Everybody has that one guy they hate trading with. Everybody has that one guy.
Hey,
Yeah.
somebody told me that they sent like 3 trades to the Empire League the other day, and I was like, shit, I didn't get the notification. Vic he doesn't even check with me.
Reject.
He just reject everything. So he acts like he hollers at me about stuff, and he doesn't. He just makes the decision on his own, and I find out about it later from somebody else. So
I'm done
him.
co-GMing.
Screw him, man. I need a new friend, man.
All right. So with that being said, it's been another edition of the Dynasty Bros Fantasy Football Podcast. Make sure you guys
friendships, Dynasty Bro Style.
Hey, Doc, can I still call you if I need you to jump in and we talk about it later?
Yeah, you know I'm gonna pull up no matter what.
All right, bet. That's all I need to know. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys. Hey, make sure you guys dominate your leagues. Again, you guys can follow us at Dynasty Bros FF. Be sure to follow Bring the Juice Podcast. Again, these are my go-to guys for all Colts updates, and we'll be back next week with the rest of the rookie temperature check. So I want to thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
No doubt. Man. Y'all be safe, man. Real talk.
Yeah, same to you guys. Same to you.